Hi, I'm Michael Ceely. Welcome to the podcast. Today I have a very special guest. His name is Sebastian Avanzini. He's a pro soccer player and he's also a successful entrepreneur. So he's played all across Europe, Southeast Asia. He's a very successful soccer player and he's one of those few athletes that really invest in his future in entrepreneurial ventures. So if you're an athlete, this is really a must-see video. You need to start building for the future now while you're in the prime of your career. Even if you're just starting or if you're finishing up a career, you can really leverage your brand, leverage your experience, and really help a lot of people. So let's take a page from Sebastian's book. It's really about building for the future. And I think you're going to find this episode very inspiring. So check it out. And Sebastian Avanzini, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much.
I wanted to start off with asking you about your athletic career and ask you how you got into soccer.
Well, I think there's no short answer, but I'll try. It's just basically having a Italian father who's obsessed with soccer. So his dream was for me to become a professional. It became my dream very early on. So it's a blessing and a curse. I had that father who paced me through my whole life, and eventually through a lot of I guess it's a long road to becoming professional, and mine was particularly long. So a lot of rejections, and eventually I think at 23 I finally made the cut, where usually it's obviously at 16, 17, 18 these days, but that's basically just a relentless vision of that's all I wanted to do in my life. And eventually that's, I would say, how I got there.
I want to ask you also about mentors. So it sounds like your dad was a bit of a mentor. Were there any other mentors, say when in your career in soccer where you felt were really key to your success?
Yes. Funny you ask. I have two persons aside from my father. If I had not met them, but 100% I wouldn't have made it. First one I need when I'm 15. At this point, I am sort of being rejected by every academy around. Clearly talented, but my temper, my attitude, and how I handled my race was not very productive from an early age. I got a mentor called Kim. He was at the time he was working as a coach for the community state government. At that time, funny flash forward to 10 years, maybe 9, 10 years later, when I was 25, he's the coach of multiple players in FC Barcelona and Tottenham Hotspurs. But at that time, he was just handling and facilitating a little bit troubled young kids like myself. So he was a professional footballer himself, who retired and was a very talented one. And he was this big man with very Viking kind of look, and I was not great in school. I had a hard time with the authorities. So that was the first time as a 15 years of age, I think, where I found a mentor. And that was the first time where I found somebody aside from my family. But you know how it is when you're a parent, it's not always your children they will necessarily listen to at some point, no matter how good the advice is. You need somebody else at some point.
Yeah.
And that's what I found in Kim. He was my mentor in football, given his background as a professional football player. He taught me how to manage my rage. He taught me so many things in life, how to I started going back to school. Small things like the first times I fell in love. How do I speak to women? It was everything. And it's just goes to show how important having the right role models in life really is. It completely changed my life.
Yeah.
That was number one. Number two, I'll make a bit shorter. When I was 22, I again found myself in a difficult spot, again being rejected everywhere I go. So to give you a bit of context, at 21, I finally managed to make the team for a third division club in Denmark. That's semi-professional. In that half year I was there, I made 3 appearances for a total amount of 10 minutes. So you can do the calculations. It was not great. And I was getting cut from the team at 22. So the coach, I just basically remember he told me that I would never be more than an average semi-professional player at best. So so I was getting cut from the team. And at that time, I was thrown a lifeline by a former coach of mine who had a contact to another coach. And then he basically set me up for a phone call with this coach. And he asked me, "You'd like to come here and try out?" And I say, "Yeah, I'd love to." And then he asked me, "What position do you play?" And I knew, okay, I'm just asking, well, what position do you need?
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, well, I need a left fullback who's left-footed." And just to give you a context, I was an offensive player and I'm very right-footed.
Oh,
So
wow.
I just said, "Done. I'm left-footed." And I went to that tryout and I only tried to play with my left foot. And as you can imagine, I was terrible. And that coach, he came after the training, after the tryout, he came to me, and I was obviously super, super frustrated because well, I was exposed. Obviously, it was actually really embarrassing, to be fair with you. And he basically came to me and he just looks at me like this. I remember, like I'm looking at you now, and he's just laughing a little bit, like a little bit cocky and arrogant, but and I don't know how to behave. And he just said, and he asked me how I thought it went. And I'm like, I mean, it could have gone better, I said. And he just starts laughing so much. And then the other coaches in the room starts laughing, and I say, "Oh my God, here we go, right? I'm just telling you, I see, I understand if you don't want me here anymore." I just said it. I just actually gave him the option, just cut me. I'm used to it. And he just told me, "Are you kidding me? Anybody who would come here, lie to me, pretend they're left-footed, and still go here for the tryout.
Mm.
That's the man I wanted to go into war with. You're not
Okay.
going anywhere." And that year, at 22, from just being cut in the third league, just right before, where I mainly played with the reserve team, which was the sixth league of Danish football, to trying out here, making the team based on a lie.
Mm.
11 months later, I was playing in Danish Super League, and that's how much confidence he gave me that year. That was the
Mm.
first time. It completely changed me as a person, as a human being, as an athlete, in a new position. Everything was different. But that belief in me, and that he had crazy high standards for everybody, but for me also. And but still, I really felt this guy. He wanted the best for me, and he just wanted me to really flourish and to really work hard.
Mm.
And he never accepted that I couldn't see the potential inside of myself. 11 months from I started there to becoming the best player in the league
Yeah.
in a position I never played before, to becoming a full-time professional football player in a top 10 league in the world. It was so quick. It all happened overnight, some people would say.
Wow. That's a fantastic story. So that is this guy, it sounds like, and just what he said to you is like, I want someone to like come to war with me, and just the laughing and just letting down those barriers, it sounds like, because you've been knocking on the door, knocking on the door, knocking on the door. He's like, open the door wide up, like, I want you. And like you
Yes,
said, your confidence probably just skyrocketed, like, hey, this person like really believes in me.
absolutely. As an
Yeah.
athlete, whether you are a football player or something else, there's
Hmm.
so much information that you absorb growing up, and some of it is not very productive for you. So you sort of have to de-learn a lot
Yeah.
to actually excel sometimes, and especially mentally, to really to remove those blocks. Because one thing is, if you could see, Sebastian, the way your shooting technique could be better if you were to do this. This is easy to see for those who have a trained eye, but it's very hard to deal with the blocks inside of your head. And like you say, there was somebody here who just came and completely just made a joke out of this professional football thing.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, all those limitations and those narratives I built around myself as being an average player and whatever it was, he
Mhm.
completely just obliterated them inside of my head. And like I said, it was not just on the field. I truly believe to really excel in something,
Mm.
then you need to grow as a person. It starts with humans. It doesn't start with the athlete. It starts with humans. That's
Yeah.
what he really understood, and that's what changed me forever as a person, and eventually have given me the career I have today.
Wow. That's is getting me thinking. It's so fascinating because you can be totally determined individually as an athlete or as wanting to succeed in business, but sometimes it takes that validation from another person or
Yes.
that sort of a belief. Somebody who believes in you is so powerful. And just hearing that
Yeah.
story, because it's like they just they give you that green light. Not that you can't get that internally, but it is a struggle when you keep getting people say no to you, say no to you, say no to you. And I've experienced it in business and in sports as well. Um, but once you have a like a stamp or a validation, I mean, we're social animals, humans are. We're not robots. And so to have that guy say that to you is so powerful. Wow. Um, that's great. Sebastian, I want to get into sports psychology a bit. Because because it is such a psychological thing, sports and business, both of which you're very successful at. So what would you say, like, besides that, belief, just the belief in yourself validated by another person, what, and you mentioned earlier too, like your temper, which I think is a trait I see in a lot of really successful athletes, is kind of like a little authority challenge, a little bit independent, headstrong. Um, was that a challenge that you faced once you got into the higher leagues, or was that more of a youthful thing for you, that temper?
Still have to check it.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to be a challenge for me.
Okay.
I think it's the goal is not to remove it. It
Yeah.
has to be an asset for you. I have the anger. I am for those who've competed with or against me, they know I am willing to do whatever it takes to win. And sometimes that has many faces.
Mm.
However, you learning to use that anger, whether you're in a corporate setting or whether you're an athletic setting, is so important. The reason why sports is such a great educator for you to transcend to business is, I always say it's like the corporate world just on steroids. So all the feelings that you would feel in a corporate setting, you will feel and also on a football field, but just amplified times I don't know
Yeah.
how much. And when I sort of have one leg in each arena now, I can. It's the same triggers, the same emotions that hits me. Sometimes I'm to speak with, let's say I'm speaking with investors, and especially in the beginning, they would use terms I've never heard before. I felt so dumb, and it triggers me. I'm
Yeah.
feeling dumb. It really triggers me, and I become annoyed. But as a kid, I would have also like a young adult, I would be triggered and I would react emotionally towards it.
Mm.
Today, I am definitely not perfect, but I am much, much more aware of that anger I have, and
Mhm.
that a little bit of craziness I also bring to the table when I compete and when in whatever I do. I need to understand that this anger, I need to just check it. I need to check it because there's a time and place for everything. If I use my anger wrongly here, it's a lot of fuel, it's a lot of energy that I could have saved, and I could have once I've had 10 deep breaths, I could have used it as fuel to just
Mm.
go out and really execute on whatever I need to execute on. But if I emotionally react every time, I will not have that opportunity later on.
Mm.
So it's a question about self-control, and it's a question of understanding that what you're feeling right now is completely normal. And me understanding every time now I feel it, luckily there's like the demon that makes me I want to react. And then there's
Mm.
the other side, the angel who basically says, hey, keep it, Sebastian, just keep it, keep it. Just listen, don't say anything. Just say okay. Just say okay. And then eventually once I have processed it, I still have this
Mm.
anger and all this energy that now I can execute. And that took me so long.
Mm. Yeah, I like how you use the word energy, because I think it really is an energy. And for the athlete who does have that anger, that passion, or like an authority issue, or whatever you want to call it, is being able to have the tools to channel. Like you mentioned, take the 10 deep breaths, right? Because
Yeah.
it's it's energy you want to harness. You don't want to get rid of it. There's nothing wrong with it. It shows that you're passionate and you really want to succeed, and it manifests in anger. And I think that's very
Yeah.
common for a lot of really successful driven people, is that you have to channel that energy in a really constructive fashion. But like you said, that temptation is like, I want to give in and, throw something or have like a fit, right? But like, if you can just
Yeah.
take literally 10 seconds, right? Breathe. and that just transmutes into something where it's very focused. You still have that adrenaline and energy, and I just loved how you described that as energy. That's pretty cool that you're very aware of it, and it sounds like you have a lot of control over it. Yeah.
I've gotten to the point now where I will say I'm quite capable of controlling that side of me.
Yeah.
But it's also it's also knowing where you want to go. Again, we're especially a lot of athletes, and also in business settings, it's basically a room full of big egos. And again, like you said something before, which is we're not robots, we're human beings, and understanding that it's not all about me.
Yeah.
I basically made my football career from, I always quote Michael Jordan because he said it the first, but I resonate so much with this. I made my football career from being the most coachable player.
Mm.
That's what I am today. I'm never, look, so Michael, I'm never a 10 out of 10 when I play football. I'm never a 10 out of 10. But what I am is the most reliable.
Mm.
And what I can say is having high standards, like I said before,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about understanding your role. What is my role when I compete, when I'm in any team setting? Because that's what life is about. It's about working together.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing business, whether you're doing where you're playing football or anything else, even if you're doing a single sport, you still have a team around you. So understanding your ego first and foremost, and understanding, especially if you're in a position like I am, where I'm usually in a, if not the captain, then in a leader role on my football teams, and the same in my business. It's understanding that everybody's different and everybody has an ego. There's some people who need to be talked to in a certain way, and then there's others who are more who have different reactions, who are maybe a little more introverted, where they basically really need what I had eventually in my career. They really need somebody to tell them that you're amazing, you're absolutely amazing. And just understanding that it's not robots.
Yeah.
I have an ego, you have an ego, and understanding how to keep your ego in check. And really, my role is, on the football field, I'm a playmaker. That's my role. I'm a playmaker. In my business, I'm the same. I'm the playmaker.
Mm-hmm.
I rarely really score. What, not really in business, not really in on the football field, but I am super important for the machine to run around.
Yeah.
Not because I have a crazy hard skill. Same in football. I don't have a crazy shot, a crazy something.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
I'm super important for all the other who have those hard skills to really be able to express themselves.
Mm. So you're focused on the goal and the mission and not necessarily on you individually scoring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've made my career on that, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is so key for athletes or entrepreneurs, anybody, is what's your mission? What got you, like, what do you love about your business, or what do you love about your team or your sport? And what is the goal? What is the mission? And I think if you focus on that, everything just kind of falls into place. Like, we all have natural tendencies and personalities and certain roles that are just really best for us. Like you said, like,
Yeah.
you're the playmaker, right? So like that's the role. And if you focus, everyone focuses on the mission, there are going to be like the top scorers, right? But they all together, if they can focus on the mission or the goal, then I think it just falls into place just naturally, don't
Yes.
you think?
I believe so. And like you said, having a vision in I encourage everybody I work with today to to have a vision. And most people, unfortunately, they have this idea of a vision as something a company will put on a wall somewhere, and then they're just like, oh yeah, it's something about that. No, it's not really what it is. Like having a vision. For instance, in my life, it's I want to inspire and teach as many people in the world as possible. That's my vision. And that's why I'm waking up every morning. My mission right now in my life is to teach and educate 1 billion people worldwide. And also, I created Eduvo, which is an education company where where I try to teach at scale, because I understood if I'm to teach and inspire 1 billion people worldwide, it's going to be a lot of one-to-one conversations. So I need to do something that's a little more scalable So you see how my why and my mission basically up here transcends down into what I'm doing. And how I'm going to do it is essentially by playing football in front of a lot of people, by using my voice on my platforms, by coming to you, Michael, on a third-party platform to share my perspectives. That's how I'm doing it. So I always encourage people, again, like Simon Sinek said famously, just start with why and then sort of reverse engineer to what you're doing right now.
Yeah, start with why and then and have faith that you're going to figure out the how. I think
Yeah.
that's the other half of that, right? And it sounds like you have definitely have a mission and a passion. I feel that in your energy and looking at all your stuff online. Let's talk a bit about that, about Eduvo, right? Or Eduvo. It's
Yeah.
eduvo.io. And it's
Yes.
yeah, on the website it says empowering personal growth through tailored mentorship. So this is all adding up right now, Sebastian, right? So everything that you've been talking about in your life sounds like it's been channeled into this vehicle, which is
Yeah.
Eduvo. And talk a bit about more about what that company does. What do you all do?
So yeah, company is called Eduvo. It's similar to in US you have a masterclass. But instead of having this sort of Netflix platform, I really try to find the most capable human beings on the planet Earth. So that be I have world champion athletes, Oscar nominees, Red Bull athletes, Olympians, and not necessarily athletes, but people within the mindset, the growth, leadership, sort of soft skills.
Mhm.
I want to really empower them because on social media, everybody knows now there's so much information. So it's hard to really navigate in. And it's not necessarily the bar of quality right now it has been quite low.
Yeah.
And I believe to really facilitate education is not enough for me. I want to facilitate premium education. So I basically partner up with the best of the best around, and then I distribute their knowledge to as many people as possible by creating the products of tailored mentorships that we basically distribute both to a lot of bigger companies and also on a individual level. Yeah, that's really how my why is living out right now by partnering up with the best of the best that I really feel like have something to offer to this world.
This really is obvious that you have a sports background and team oriented and the role, right? The playmaker. Like let me
Yeah.
get the best, let me curate things because there is so much out there, so many programs, mentorship programs, programs this, programs that, and it's often either one person or a small team or the individuals who came up with the idea are running everything. But what you're doing is you're bringing on the best of the best. Let me like a talent scout. I think you're the perfect person for this. Come share your knowledge and skills and just you're curating everything so that you're yeah, it's a wonderful concept. And so how does it work so that if say someone wanted to sign up as an actual member of your team, like bring in their expertise, how would they go about doing that?
So obviously you are more than welcome to text me directly on LinkedIn, Instagram, feel free to find me wherever. But you can also go into the website eduvo.io. And basically, we just do a small assessment and we try to give you a bit of an inside view to what it means to actually really leverage all that intellectual property that you've accumulated. Also, I will say one thing is those people I work with, yes, they are truly amazing. And the reason why we're such a great fit is I realized as an athlete, I knew a lot about something very specific. When I started out, I did not know much about marketing, about sales, about technology. I didn't know much about it. So I realized all these people that I saw on Instagram, and I'm going to offend somebody now. It was not even the A players. It was not the B players,
Mm,
maybe not even the C players. It was just those who were the most noisy.
yeah.
And again, nobody mentioned, but it's just to say, I I wanted to solve that problem because those people, just like myself, who've done something their whole life, we're so hyper focused. We don't really publish our knowledge. We don't really do that. So what I realized is if there's somebody who's sitting out there who's been doing something for their whole life, they sit on a mountain of value. I have for instance, I have a profile on my platform. He never led anybody in a corporate setting, but he basically did an Ironman on Antarctica as the only human being alive,
Wow.
and with no experience, and turned it into an Oscar-nominated movie. And he basically led that expedition. That IP is worth so much for corporate leaders. And maybe sometimes it's not even about bringing something completely new to the table. That's not what it is. And sometimes it's just that what you already know is basically being repeated, that you can find that inspiration. And those people who've truly gone that extra mile to do something spectacular in this life, or for a lot of years in this life, that IP is something I saw. Wait, I was lucky I had somebody who was a pro football player to teach me at the age of 15 he became my life coach, football coach, but life coach. And I realized, whoa, not everybody is fortunate enough to meet that person. How about if I could really create that, not just for 15-year-old kids, but for employees who sit stuck in a company, who needs inspiration? That's the people I really wanted to see if I could reach. And I understood, if I am to reach those people, I need to create something that is where the contents are much more valuable, where the people who are sharing their knowledge have unique backgrounds that really qualifies them to be coaching, not just that you are the most noisy on social media.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the trick, right? So the people who have the best marketing, the fanciest, flashiest videos,
Yeah.
right? It's so eye-catching. But what you're doing is you're taking the actual diamonds, right? And getting them all together and then polishing them up, if we're going to use this metaphor here, right?
Yeah.
And because you got to have both. Let's face it, there's so much noise out there that you have to market. You have to
Yeah.
play that game. But what you have is actual real quality behind everything that you're marketing there. That's amazing. And someone who did you said a tryout, something in Antarctica. What was it?
It was an Ironman on Antarctica.
Ironman. Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So the first person, imagine the first person ever to attempt and complete an Ironman on Antarctica. Just imagine some who did that with no prior
Yeah.
experience. That's somebody who you would like to learn from.
Yeah.
At least for me, I would love to learn from somebody like that. He's just one example. It can be so many different examples we already also have on our platform. But if there's somebody out there who is truly amazing, who knows, and you know it, if you've done something amazing, or maybe not even amazing, but you know something, you've done something for so long, and you would love to share that, to teach that, yeah, then I'm probably the right person for you, because I also know what it is, what it feels like to have dedicated so much time, decades of your life to something, and then as an athlete, you're like, actually, what goes beyond being an athlete? What would that look like? And that fear is sort of what triggered me early on to really become very entrepreneurial.
And it also sounds like you're kind of paying forward what the mentors that really empowered and nurtured you too. There's that spark of like, let me bring that into my business model, so that if someone's connected with this, say this guy who did the Ironman in Antarctica, um, if there's that connection there between the mentor and the mentee, that's like the secret sauce, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because anybody can basically do coaching, but it's so important who is it that's doing the coaching. Because Michael, if you were to go out there and do a speak where you've done tons of leadership speaks throughout the career, and I would do it, and I just maybe started a few years ago doing it, then obviously not the same people would resonate with me who would resonate with you. It's so important who speaks. It's so important who we resonate with, because we all have different backgrounds. We can say the exact same things and it would be interpreted completely differently. And that's the power of role models, of mentoring. And basically what I learned is it's okay that we resonate with different people. But one thing I want to make sure of is, if you were to go out and teach and educate, which should be the most noble thing in the world to do, then I want to make sure that we set the bar as high as we possibly can, and we really try to distribute and facilitate the absolute greatest individuals on the planet.
Nice. So, Sebastian, tell us where we can find you personally online with your brand, which, by the way, is amazing, the way you do your branding, and Eduvo also. Where can people find you?
So usually where people can find me and where I'm always responding is LinkedIn. So you can find my name, which is Sebastian, and then Avanzini. I'm sure we can write something in a bio somewhere, and then you can find my name there. Feel free to connect and link up with me, whether it's for something you've got taken away from this conversation or it's for something more collaboration wise in the future. I am always open to hear, even if you have something that you say, no, Sebastian, that's not right. You're also more than welcome. And yeah, LinkedIn would be the best platform to find me on.
Great. So I'll leave all those links in the description wherever we're watching this. The main company we're talking about here is Eduvo, that's spelled EDUVO.io, and everyone should definitely check that out. Sebastian, such a pleasure talking with you. I'm really glad we connected. You got me fired up for the day here. It's earlier in the morning here. We're in different time zones, but I got a little extra energy boost from this. So
Nice.
definitely let's stay in touch. Great talking with you. And for everyone else listening and watching, use this to get fired up. Check out Sebastian's work, and let's all keep leveling up.